3 weeks after launch, OpenAI just cut one of its model prices by 80%. Not a sale, not a promo. A permanent reset, and it changes the math on a lot of things you may have written off. The model is GPT 5.6 Luna on July 9th, 2026. It launched at $1 per million input tokens. On July 30th, 21 days later, that price dropped to 20 cents. That's not a minor adjustment. That's the cost of running AI through your business falling off a cliff. To understand why this happened, you have to look at who OpenAI is actually competing with right now. DeepSeek V4 has been pulling enterprise clients away with cheaper pricing. Anthropic's Claude Opus 5 is credible at the high end. Google's Gemini 3.6 Flash is fast and cheap. OpenAI called this an efficiency gain. That's technically true. But the real driver is a market that got a lot more crowded fast. Luna sits in the middle of OpenAI's GPT 5.6 family. It's not the top-tier model that's for complex reasoning tasks. It's not the lightest one either. It's the workhorse fast enough for real-time use, smart enough for nuanced outputs, and now cheap enough that running it at serious volume doesn't require a serious budget. So what does this actually mean if you're running a small business or a one-person operation that touches AI in any way? Let's get specific. Think about the tools you've already got or almost built. A chatbot that qualifies leads before you ever get on a call. An automation that drafts follow-up emails based on what a customer actually said. A content workflow that takes a raw brief and turns it into a finished post. A lot of these got shelved, not because the idea was bad, but because running them at real volume started to cost real money. Here's the math that changes. Say you were running a customer-facing chatbot handling 5,000 conversations a month. At $1 per million tokens, that might have cost you $40, $50 a month. Not catastrophic, but enough to pause on scaling it. At 20 cents per million tokens, that same workload costs under $10. You've just freed up budget to run that tool 5 times harder or build the next one. If you're trying to figure out where to actually apply this, here are the use cases where Luna's price drop makes the biggest difference right now. The mistake most small operators make at a moment like this is the same one they always make. They see cheaper AI and they think about adding more tools. A new chatbot, another automation, one more integration. But if the workflows you already have are broken or inconsistent, cheaper input tokens don't fix that. You just get bad outputs faster and at higher volume. The price drop is only useful if the system underneath it is solid. The smarter move is to go back to whatever you shelved because the numbers didn't work and run a real test. Not a proof of concept, an actual pilot with real inputs, real volume, and real outputs you'd actually use. Luna at 20 cents per million tokens is cheap enough that you can afford to experiment properly. The question is whether your prompts, your logic, and your workflow structure are good enough to get consistent results when you turn the volume up. And this won't be the last cut. The competitive pressure that pushed Luna's price down 80% in 3 weeks isn't going away. DeepSeek, Anthropic, Google, they're all in the same race, which means the operators who build reliable, well-structured AI systems now will be running them at a fraction of today's cost inside of a year. The price of AI just got cheaper. That's not the news. The news is that the thing you built badly, or the thing you almost built but didn't, just got a second look. Not because the technology changed, because the economics did. Go find that shelved project, run the numbers again, and build it properly this time. Structure and systems built right now will outrun any team you could hire to do the same thing manually. If this kind of breakdown is useful to you, follow for more. We cover what's actually happening in AI and what it means for the people running lean operations.